15th chapter. Let us chant the first 10 slokas. Om Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha ऊर्ध्वमूलमथ शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवेत् अथश्चोर्ध्वा प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रबालाः अथश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामति ईश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयानि वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुः स्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढा नानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा. So, we are discussing the 15th chapter. It is called Purushottama Yoga. To recollect what we discussed before, this whole samsara is compared to a tree. What kind of tree? It is called Ashwatha. What does Ashwatha mean? Shva means tomorrow. A means na. That which there is no guarantee it will stay till tomorrow. At the same time, it is called Avyaya. Avyaya means seemingly eternal. Collectively, it is eternal because nobody knows when it started. Nobody knows when it is going to come to an end. Nobody can see even little bit of it except we know only this much. Do you know how many galaxies are there? Do you know how many galaxies are there? Billions and billions and billions and billions of galaxies. Each galaxy contains solar systems like us, billions. Each solar system contains billions of stars. Our star is the biggest star. Like this, there are billions of stars. And in each solar system, there are billions of planets and other things are there. And of that, our earth is very small. On this earth, England is like a Kerala state. In that, like Kerala state, our London is small. In London, this East Woodford is like this. In that, Ila's house is like this. In that, this house. Where are we? And yet,
এত গ্যালাক্সি বললেন আছে, is there any planet with the human being like this?
they are searching. There must be. They are searching. The first criteria is water. And they have already found water. See, we don't know. So far, we have not found out. But life, there is a possibility is there. And what type of human beings there will be, we don't know. But the point is, supposing after a long time you find some, and then you will see they are quarreling with each other, killing with each other. What would be your reaction? Oh ma, খুব ভালো হবে বলে এখানে আসলাম, যে ওখানে বাড়িতেই ভালো ছিল. Where we are, it is much better. Peace is at home, because Maya is exactly the same. Mahamaya is exactly the same. Darkness is exactly the same everywhere.
And you also wrote that human nature is eternal.
Human nature is, it will never change.
Never.
Individually, it can change. But collectively, it will never change. Nothing is new. History, that's why it is called history repeats itself. But some wag had added, every time it repeats, the prices go up. Everything goes up. Nothing changes. It is the same Mahamaya. Circumstances may change. One may live in what is called air-conditioned room. Another may live in a small dilapidated hut. But the same Kama, same Krodha, same Lobha, same Matsari. Same Maya. See, such a huge Japan disaster had taken place. Not even 1 month, about a month, less than a month.
11th March.
11th March. So it is less, 3 weeks only. Already we have forgotten. Our whole attention now is on Libya. Libya. And then you say, there is one. Thakur Sri Ramakrishna used to say something, there is a woman, she was a wife, and she gave birth to a child, and that child died for 15 days. What a terrible heart break. After 15 days, she takes bath and she colors her face and her hair. Even ancient times also the same, what is called medications were there for decorating oneself and all that. This is same human nature. Now look at the people who survived for a few days, they grieve. Do you think they are grieving day and night? Do you think they are not sleeping? Do you think with a grieving face, they enter into a restaurant. Suddenly the smell of first class pizza comes. What do you think they will do at that time? Come on, what do you think they will do? Happily. That all that grief they keep outside the door. And then they enjoy. And then when they go out, they put on that coat of grief for a few days. How long? Again the fellow who lost his wife will be marrying. The wife who lost her husband will be marrying again. The same grief after a few days. This is called Mahamaya. It's right also. Nobody need to go on grieving forever and ever. Everybody has a right to grieve for a short time. After that, they have a right to their own life. But this is what Maya. So from the beginning till the end, the Maya is the same, whatever be the circumstance. Rich, poor, and learned, ignorant. This is called Samsara Vriksha. And how beautifully Thakur illustrates through the story of Narada. Narada. Remember Narada's story? Vishnu showed Narada bring fetch water.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is samsara. This is nothing but samsara. So this is the condition. We are discussing this. Is samsara is compared to a tree. Why? Like the birds which stay there. So the whole day they are roaming. Then only they come to stay for a short time. So, but the tree can be uprooted. But where from the tree is coming? From God. We forget that. We are only focusing our attention on the tree. So what does the samsara varnana, samsara vriksha varnana, description of the tree of samsara. So beautiful description. A huge tree. Nobody knows how high it is, how low it is. And millions of birds are there. And there also hierarchy is there. Some birds, Gunda birds, they will be sitting on the topmost. And some weak birds will be different species. Everything has got their own place, their own hierarchy, everything. But one day the tree can be uprooted. For whom? Only for an individual. When we die, our whole samsara will die. A new samsara starts. Is it not a fact?
Yes.
That is why this is compared to a tree, because individually it can be destroyed. Collectively you can't destroy. Why? That belongs to God. But individually, when we get right knowledge, then this samsara will come to an end. This whole world comes to an end. What does it mean? It really means that really what we see as samsara is not really samsara. It is God. I told you, that's why from Advaitic Vedantic point of view, so there is no world outside. When we put on specs, we see something with that color, isn't it? Black specs. How do you see it? Black. So the classic example, though many times I told, I have to repeat many times until the idea gets inside. There is a rope, and when it is semi-dark, how do you see it? As a snake. Now, has the rope ever become a snake? No. But where is the rope? Outside. Where is the snake? Inside. Snake is not outside. If it is outside, it is real. If it is inside, it is real only for us. It is not unreal. So long as the snake is there, rope is unreal. What is reality for us? If I am seeing a snake, what is unreal for me? Rope. What is real for me? The snake. That is why Sri Ramakrishna says, what is this of saying, oh, I am Kha. There was one devotee. He used to say, I am Kha. Kha means Akash. Akash means I am unattached, like the space. Unattached. But when the tax people came, he started weeping. So if Sri Ramakrishna went and found one day, he was very unhappy. Why are you unhappy? The tax people came and they said they will take my pots and pans. Sri Ramakrishna laughed and said, you say that you are Kha. What does it matter? What connection have you got with pots and pans? See, saying is easy. Practice is very difficult. That is the point he brings out here. The detachment. What is detachment? Not indifference. First of all, detachment is not indifference. A detachment can be what is called very strong attachment. Extreme attachment. You can be attached, but knowing what it is. Like when you are traveling in an aeroplane, you are assigned a seat. You have every right until the plane lands. You have every right to your seat. If somebody comes, they can request, will you please exchange the seat? But if you refuse, then there is nothing anybody can do. But that it doesn't belong to you, have full knowledge of it. Until we have correct knowledge, whatever knowledge we have, that dictates our reality. That is why we have to pray to God, Lord, grant me correct knowledge. But attachment means what? You enjoy. Many people think, oh, you close your eyes, you go away somewhere, you run away from these problems. No, that is not going to solve the problems. Even if you run away to Himalayas, your mind you are carrying is the same knowledge you are carrying. Until you have right knowledge, you go anywhere, it doesn't change your behavior. So this is the point we have to understand. What we call the world, what is it actually? Nothing but God. The world is nothing but God. Then why do we see that as a world? We put on the, what is called 5 colored specs. What is the 5 colored specs? Prapancha we call it. What is the prapancha? Pancha means what? 5. What are those 5? 5 sense organs. You remove these things. That means you get rid of your body, get rid of your mind, then you will see nothing but Brahman. This is the truth. So the samsara vriksha, it can be transcended. How? Through the practice of detachment. What is detachment? Samyak gnana. That is correct knowledge. What is correct knowledge? Everything is God. Ramakrishna used to say, you see, he saw a prostitute. What did he see?
Mother.
He saw Divine Mother. What do we see? We see gold. What does he see in the gold? He says there is no difference. Taka mati. He doesn't see any difference because his faith is nothing is what value is gold when you are hungry. You understand? Gold is of no use if there is nobody to appreciate it. It has no value unless somebody values it. There was a beautiful story. There was, some people, Arabs, they were traveling by a caravan. Caravan, you understand? Camels, a lot of camels together. In one evening, they came together near a oasis. And there were 2 diamond merchants. They were rivals. So, one diamond merchant wanted to show his superiority to the other diamond merchant. He intentionally but accidentally let one of his biggest diamonds fall down. The other merchant saw this diamond and he picked it up and wanted to return. This merchant to whom it belongs said, don't bother. That is but one of my smallest diamonds. You keep it. That means indirectly he is telling that if you think that is the biggest, then you are nothing. I am the richest diamond merchant. There was one fakir who was witnessing this scene. So he said, today night I invite you for dinner. There is a rule among Arabs that if anyone invites, rich or poor, you cannot refuse it, because that is the rules of their hospitality. So they said yes. He had only little food, so he distributed among them. That's where, mostly it is dates. Dates, you understand dates? Yeah. That's where young men and women meet. That is how dating service. Dating service. That is how they exchange dates. That's how dating service started. You understand now? Anyway, he gave them something. Then he said, I want to tell a story. It's not a story, it's my own autobiography. He said, before I became a fakir, I was one of the biggest diamond merchants. So once I was traveling in a caravan like you, and I was carrying most precious diamonds. And then suddenly, in the midst of on the way, a huge sandstorm had risen. And it was so ferocious, we couldn't see each other. And then I have lost my way with my camel, and for days and days I drifted. I was hungry because all the food was being carried on some other camel. I was thirsty, and I was very a little water was there. I was drinking, but there was no food. So I was searching my bag again and again and again. Maybe I had kept something. So after 2-3 days, I couldn't stand any longer. Again I started searching. And then I came upon a bag. I thought maybe by Allah's grace, so there is some food here. He said, I opened it. And what did I find?
Diamond.
The biggest diamond I had, I kept it. Then I said, Allah, if you save me, I will renounce the whole world. I will become a monk. So somehow he found himself near a oasis. There were others also. He was saved. He said, I sold all my property, distributed to the poor. Ever since I have become a fakir. Indirectly he was conveying the message. Even if you have the biggest diamond, when the time comes for hunger or thirst, you are not going to eat it. It is not going to save your life. And what will you do your diamonds with if you have no life? What is the use of your diamonds or anything else? Everything we have to leave under the tsunami came. Everything. The whole thing is houses, cars, property, computers, everything has been washed out, washed away. Life itself is gone. What are you going? How much we are clinging to these things? Anytime we can die. Anything can happen. Cancer. If somebody is lying with cancer, what? Even if you are a Koteshwara, billionaire, what are you going to do with all that? It's not that you shouldn't have it. Have that knowledge anytime. So what is Viveka? I told many times. Definition. Most wonderful definition of Viveka. Viveka means what? Knowledge of samsaric reality. What is that? Anything can happen at any time, at any place, in any way, to anyone. Anything can happen at any time, at any place, in any way, to anyone. You see this Japanese tsunami?
Yes.
What a horrendous thing. Simply a person is there, the roof, if water comes, what a horrible way of dying, drowning and dying. Not one, not two, more than 20,000. Oh my God, it is, we don't even imagine what a horrendous death. There is a way of dying, you know. Maybe you are at home, maybe all the family members are there, and you of course, you suffer, you die. That's one way. But like this, being helplessly carried, drowned, and this terrible way of dying. So anything can happen to anyone, at any time, at any place, in any way. Have this knowledge and do what you like. Now, let us continue. So this tree, immutable, it is immutable from a collective viewpoint, but it is perishable from a individual point. Because if by Thakur's grace, if today I have self-knowledge, the samsara comes to an end. In another way, secondary meaning also is given. When I am sleeping, when I am in deep sleep, where is samsara? When I die, where is samsara for me? This samsara will stop. It is called pralaya. There are so many, 4 types of pralayas are there. Do you know that? Pralaya, you understand? Dissolution. 4 types are there. Nitya pralaya. When we are in deep sleep, the whole world is destroyed until we wake up. That is called Nitya pralaya, daily pralaya. Then Prakriti pralaya. Prakriti pralaya means when we die, you know, our lifespan comes to an end. That is Prakriti pralaya. Then Kalpa pralaya. Kalpa pranay means it is said the whole universe at some point, say 11,000 years after it, if big flood or something comes, and then collectively the whole world will vanish. Thakur says Divine Mother will gather the seeds until next pranaya. That is why in the Gita we read 1,000 yugas of a human being is one day. 1,000 yugas of a human being is one night. Brahma's night. So Brahma's night means pralaya. Brahma's evening means pralaya. Then for 1,000 yugas there is no creation. Then Brahma's day starts. That means Srishti starts. The whole evolutionary process really starts. It goes on for the whole day of Brahma. That means 1,000 yugas. Again when evening comes, this cycle continuously it is going on and on and on. This is called Kalpa Pralaya. Then Atyantika Pralaya. Atyantika, when a person realizes God, has self-knowledge, Atma Gnana, Brahma Gnana, then the whole samsara forever comes to an end. Until that time, it is only a temporary pralaya. We go to sleep, we wake up. We die, we are reborn. And we go along with Brahma, at Brahma's awakening also come. So this is the samsara, but collectively it is eternal, as though eternal. If I die, others are alive. Goes on and on and on. But individually it can come to an end. When does it come? When we get Atma Gnana. Now look here. It says, they speak of this immutable Ashwatha tree with its roots above. Root above means what? The cause from which it has come out. Samsara means time, space and causation. Root means what? Cause means what? Beyond time, beyond space and beyond causation. What is it? Brahman. It is called Brahman, Mahakala. Do you see Kali's? See Kali's picture?
Yeah.
What is below Mother Kali? What is Shiva? That is called Urdhva Moolam. Timelessness. Timelessness is represented by this sleeping. Then Srishti. Suddenly Divine Mother dances. What is the Divine Mother representing? Time, space, causation. Srishti, Sthiti and Pralaya. That is the most beautiful symbolism. That's why 4 hands. I told you many times. The right hands, 2 hands stand for what? That means what? Abhaya means Srishti. And then Vara. Vara means what? Sthiti. Sthiti means what? Yes, I am alive. Am I going to die? No, you are not going to die. So now what am I going to do? Am I going to enjoy? Yes. What do you want? I will give you. What does she give? See, Vara means like peculiar meanings are there. Bengali language and other languages have peculiar meanings. Bengali language, Bhokche. Bhokche means what? Bhokkoche. Bhoga means what? Enjoyment. It should be enjoyment, but it means suffering. So like that, Vara. Vara Bhayakara. Vara means what? She gives boons. What boons do you think time will give? Don't ever think boons means only positive things. Ultimately positive things. But temporarily it depends upon what does the mother give? She will give, she is the supervisor, karma adhyaksha. That means you do good actions, she will give good results. You do bad actions, she will give bad results. Then why is it called Vara? Vara means, so when you are slapped again and again, one day you will wake up. This is a wake up call. Suffering means you struggle, how can I get rid of suffering? That is why both happiness and unhappiness are her boons. Happiness pulls you up because once you enjoy, I want more. Suffering, I want to get rid of suffering. Both ways you are progressing in the evolutionary process. That is why it is called Vara. That is the two hands. What about the left hands? Always death is, time, Kala means death. Another name for, is in South India, we have this way of saying it. So, Kala, he had attained Kala. He had attained, that means he died. He attained Kala. That means he had attained, he died. That is what it really means. Because in Kala, death, the moment we are born, that very moment, time is running out. Expiry date, I told you, we all come with an expiry date. Automatically, when our time comes, there is a magnetic machine is there. So it reads the barcode. This fellow's expiry date has come. Mahabharata is so wonderful. Kavarta, Yaksha was asking Yudhishthira, what is the news? Kavarta. Then he said, this whole universe is a biggest cooking pot. And all the living creatures are vegetables. And the sun and the moon and the fire are the firewood. Day and night are the laddies, hatha. And the time is the cook. This is the news. Yaksha Prashnata. So what is Ascharya? What is the most wonderful thing? You know that? Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti ma mandiram sesha stavaram icchanti kima ascharyam atah param. Every day millions are dying. But the rest of them do never think that they are also going to die. But they know we all die. But when we think not now, how do we know? These fellows, before tsunami came, they were showing wonderful pictures, tsunami time, because of these modern cameras. If fellows were given warning that tsunami is coming, run away. Oh, with glee, hey, big wave is coming, let us see, come. Stupid fellows, they are not realizing that they are going to die. They are enjoying the sight, thinking that it won't come. Tsunami is coming, but nobody knows how big it is. Later on, subsequently, they are showing it is nearly 10 meters high in some places. That means about 30 feet high. These poor people didn't realize. He's telling the people are the same everywhere. I'll tell you something interesting also. Very interesting. So, this footage is showing they are gleefully watching. Oh, big wave is coming. Let us see. They did not know that it is nothing but Yamadharmaraja is rushing towards them after a few minutes. You know at what speed he comes? So, I forgot how much, 100 meters per second or something. Who like that before the blinking of an eye has already come. And these fellows, these gleeful shouts turn into sorrows of death. Because that force which huge ships you have seen, how it was tossing, how it was falling, they constructed one wall, protective wall. It went over the wall and it was progressing like this. Wonderful. So what was the interesting? There is a beautiful program. Is civilization, is West history. There is one program is coming. I don't know how many of you have seen. One of the latest programs, medicine. It was called medicine. And in that program, this man who was narrating in Africa. These German people went and exterminated thousands of these Africans, all in the name of disobedience and all that. And then suddenly my ear caught a peculiar phrase. What goes around comes around. What goes
Around and comes
around
back.
comes around.
Boomerang.
No,
Boomerang. What goes around comes around. Then he said, they exterminated so many people. And in the Second World War, 100 million people, they killed themselves. All that karma. He didn't use the word karma, but he's exactly his phrasing. If I'm not wrong, if I didn't hear wrong, he's telling exactly that your karma phala will come round. So you fellows exterminated each other. You thought we are superior people, we have guns, we go and exterminate these people. And now the karma phala has come. See, 100 million people.
Every action has its reaction.
You see, it is proved. 100 million people. You ask these people, why did this happen to us? Why did this happen? Why did you go and kill those fellows? Why did you kill your 6 million Jews? Do you think all these things will go in vain? Whoever has done bad karma, they will get it. Oh, it is something wonderful, On Buddha's this right speech, right actions. I am writing the editorial. These so-called developed countries, that the most hypocritical countries in the world, adharma. What is Buddha's teaching?
Which one?
Adharma. All countries, every country. So this: do not take life, do not tell lies, do not take intoxication, do not indulge in sexual pleasures, and there's something else is there. 5, Panchashila we call it, I forgot what it is. Anyway, cheat, do not cheat or be hypocrite like that. These countries, in which of these Buddha's teachings they are following and not violating? First, do not tell lies. So this Cameron and other, Cameron in US, this is not relevant to our subject in a way, but it is in a way relevant. USA, France, and Germany, and UK gone to war to Libya. What is the lie they are telling? This, there is human rights violation, right? What is happening in Yemen? What was happening in Burma? What was happening in so many other countries? Why are you not interfering there? Why are you interfering only here? This is an excuse. They were waiting for this excuse. Because 10 years back, 20 years back, that one plane,
Yeah, Gaddafi.
that one, then oil, and so many factors. It's pure lie. They are waiting for a good opportunity. Why are you not doing it to Iran? Because Iran has got nuclear, but this fellow has nothing. Iran, tomorrow, if they succeed, they will be biggest headache for you. But who created that? Who created Iraq's problems? The West. Who created Iran's problems? The West. Indirectly. Directly or indirectly. Anyway, this is one. Now as India gets first prize for black market. First prize in the whole world. Hundreds of crores are lying. Where are they lying? Switzerland. Which Switzerland is supposed to be a developed country. How can an Indian put their money there unless these people are actively encouraging it? That means they are living on what?
Black money.
Blood money. Do you think the karma phala will not come? It has already come. In what form it has come? Now let me put a question to you. Suppose, say there are 2 people and who have done something wrong. One person you take a gun and shoot them. The other person you don't shoot them. But you put him to infinite torture until he dies naturally. Which is worse? See, the mental sickness these people are under. The whole of Europe, the whole of America. 1 in 3 is mentally sick in America. 1 in 4 is mentally sick in the whole of Europe. What kind of civilization is this where so much of mental sickness is there? Why? Because intoxicants, lying and cheating, and free sexual indulgence without any restraint, without any moral conduct. no self-control in anything. When a person is going directly against these, what is called Shila, as this Buddha calls them, Shila. What is it? Right speech, right livelihood, and right action. These three. I only wrote about right speech.
Right understanding.
No, that belongs to prajna. Right speech is the beginning. Right thought is included in that. And right livelihood. What is right livelihood?
Not to tell lies.
Not to take life means butchers. Not to indulge in destructive weapons. Not to sell something which creates disharmony among others. These are the countries which are actively developing weapons of mass destruction. I do not wonder why so many divorces are there, why so much of what is called mental sickness is there. I am not at all surprised to see this. See, just look, open your eyes and see. And look at the households where there are devotees. They have faith in God, they live a moral life. The amount of peace and happiness they get, is it comparable to the so-called pleasures and these things? Anyway, coming back to our subject here, he says this tree is a non-eternal tree. Collective point of view, it is eternal. From individual point of view, it's coming. Every day it is a new world. Do you know that? You go to sleep and you wake up. It is a new world. Only memory is there. That's all. Chandamsi yasya parnani. Just as a tree is sustained and a tree is protected by the leaves. If the leaves are not there, then the tree will die. Interesting. In winter season, many trees, they shed the leaves. Why? For survival. But as soon as the weather improves, they get full of leaves. What is the leaf? Chandamsi. Chandamsi means Vedas. What is Vedas? Vedas covering samsara vriksha? Yes. How, in what form? They are the guidance. Scriptures are the guidelines. What guidelines? This is dharma and this is adharma. And if you follow dharma, I will give you happiness. If you follow adharma, you will automatically get. This is the nature of life. That is why, as though these, like an umbrella, these scriptures are guiding us. If we don't take the guidance of these scriptures, then our samsara journey becomes very miserable, very unhappy. You know, in this world, how people weep, ha, ha, ha. Sometimes ho, 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 laughing. Sometimes ha, ha, hi, hi, hi. You greet everybody, hi. Who died? I don't know. Hi. Alas. They don't think it is a bad word. They think it's a good word.
At least you've not been subjected to it.
So, this is the guidance of the scripture. It's a Chandamsi means Vedas. What is the purpose of Vedas? Vedas have got only two purposes. If you are in this world, then try to get happiness. If you want God, then we will show you. We will show you a way both to worldly happiness and also spiritual happiness. It's called Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa. Why does a God incarnate? Dharmasthapana. What is Dharmasthapana? Two dharmas. Pravritti and Nivritti. Pravritti means worldly welfare. Nivritti means spiritual welfare. So, there, if you don't want God, fine. You can have this world. But you will have to pay the price. What is that price? Dharma. That is why dharma, from dharma springs artha. From dharma springs kama. From dharma springs moksha. Dharma, artha, kama and moksha. This is what the scriptures are here to tell. So this is the description. And again, as I said, why this samsara vriksha? It is compared to a vriksha. It is spread, huge branches, leaves. Then new what is called in spring season, new shoots will come, new shoots, flowers and fruits. That is being described here. So the second, its branches nurtured by the gunas spread below and above. Its shoots are the sense objects and its rootlings are stretched below, producing actions in the world of men. So it's a beautiful description. Its branches are all over, below and above. What is the below and above? Below means the lokas, the worlds which are gradually more and more unhappy producing. Above means the worlds which produce more and more and more happiness or joy. So according to us there are 14 worlds. 7 worlds starting from Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, etc. Satyaloka, Brahmaloka is the highest. Highest imaginable dualistic happiness is obtained in Brahmaloka. And then from here we go down, Patala, Netherlands. Patala means Netherlands. Don't go to Netherlands. Patala. So gradually more and more unhappiness. You see, you can be born as an insect, you can be born as a virus, or things like that, or like a stone, like all these things. So suffering is there, lot of suffering is there. That's why, Sri Ramakrishna once he was traveling and by horse carriage, and the horse was as though 1 foot in the grave, and this fellow was, whipping it. What a condition! Whole life it will be whipped, or a bullock is tied to a, yoked to a plough, whole life until it is dead. Sometimes it will not be allowed to die naturally. What do?
Put it down.
These Muslims and others,
Cut.
put it down means they cut and eat. Old bullocks and old cows and all those things, they cut and eat. This is the suffering of these animals. So there are some people who are suffering, there are some people who have both happiness and unhappiness, there are people, mostly they live in happiness. What makes this difference? Guna pravruttha. They are nourished by gunas. What are the gunas? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Those who are endowed with tamoguna, they go down and down. Those who are rajogunas, they will be on this earth. Those who are sattvic, they go to higher and higher worlds. These 3 gunas go on nourishing. So you nourish a tree. What happens? New that branches start coming. What is that new branches? They are compared here to Vishaya Pravala. Vishaya means the fruits of your karma phalas, Rasagullas, Rajabhogas, and all this, see, Rajabhoga or something like that. But don't think it is only good. It is telling it is outside I am wonderful. Inside I am filled with, what it is filled with inside? Diabetes. We don't see it. We don't see it. We are attracted by it outside this thing. Samsara Sagara. That is how this, the fish doesn't see the hook. What does it see? Only the bait. And when it goes inside, what suffering? The hook. My God, we are all like fish. That is why Sri Ramakrishna describes all of us as a lake. A fisherman goes and throws the net, and then 4 types of fish are there. 1 type of fish are never caught, but 3 types of fishes are caught. 1 never struggles, they think they are very happy. Second one, type, it struggles but it doesn't succeed. Third type, it struggles but
Success.
it succeeds in escaping. So this is how all human beings are divided into 4 categories. So here he is telling, depending upon our guna, the fruits we experience in this world are also nourished by those gunas. Guna pravruttha vishaya pravala. Then athascha molani anusantatani karma anubandhini. Then the roots, the real root is up, but it creates new roots. What are those new roots? You know what are those roots? Vasana. Vasana means what? Deep desire. The English translation of vasana is smelly. We are all smelly people. People don't like to use that word. We are all smelly people. Means what? Smelly means what? Vasana. Vasana means, you understand what is vasana? Vasana means deep desire. Samskara means the habitual fulfillment of a deep desire is called samskara. So what are these roots which you go down? These vasanas, not samskaras, vasanas. Oh, I have got this desire. It doesn't go. Even a man who is dying, Holy Mother's mother, dying. What do you want? More. I want pumpkin curry. And of course she didn't live long enough to eat. That's why on Shraddha day, Holy Mother prepared a huge amount of pumpkin curry and then gave it to all the devotees, all the people, village people. Vasanas. Why are we reborn? Because of vasanas. This process is going on. We create new vasanas. Go on like this. And these vasanas create. There is a circle like this. Samsara Sagara circle is there. What is the circle? First come vasana. Vasanas create samskara. Samskara creates kama. Kama means desire. Desires create action. Desires create likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes create karmas. Karmas create the fruits called sukha and dukkha. And these sukha and dukkha again in their turn produce vasanas. This is the cycle that goes on and on and on. That is why karma yoga means what? What is karma yoga? You break this cycle. At where do you break? At the level of results, not desires. You cannot. Results. Results means what? Okay, let me enjoy, but let me have self-control. And let me do the work. But if it comes, fine. If it doesn't come also, that is fine. That is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. So let us forget about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Let us start at least Sakama Karma Yoga. We have not even reached the level of Sakama Karma. What is Sakama Karma? Have you ever heard Sakama Yoga? Sakama Yoga? Nishkama you heard. Sakama means it has got certain characteristics. You see, we all have desires. But it must be turned into yoga. So what does it mean? Don't say I have no desires. That would be hypocrisy. Yes, I have desires.
That is control your desire.
But first of all, there are many elements. The first element is let me desire what is beneficial to me and to others. Let me not desire what is harmful both to me and to others. This is the first requisite of Sakama Karma Yoga. 1 minute. The second is even when I desire something with this goal in mind, let me not do it, obtain it by hook or crook. Let me get it only through the grace of God. That is second element. How to obtain the grace of God? Let me pray, worship God and leave it to Him to grant me the what I desire. He will give you, because it is sakama karma. Whatever you pray to God, He will definitely give you. But you have to pray to Him. Oh Lord, I have this desire. Please grant me. So behave dharmically. These are the three elements in sakama karma yoga. What are they? First, only desire what is good and beneficial. Both, not only to me, but to others also. Second, I must never try to obtain this by hook or crook. Third, I must always try to get it only through the grace of God. Now, the doubt comes, oh, so if I am behaving properly, why should I pray to God? The answer is, the future is always what is called unknown. There are so many hidden variables. You understand what is variable? Because, see, you are in your vision, if I do this, I will get this. No. So many, in future, what happens, you are going for an interview, your car may break down. There may be an accident. Or maybe when you reach there, the fellow who has to interview you, he has interviewed so many people and he was very angry with somebody. And then you are the person, you are the target upon whom he takes out. Seeing your face, he dislikes you. So even if your answer is right, he will put only negative remark. Many hidden variables are there. You don't know. Pray to God. That is why Sri Ramakrishna used to give a beautiful example of sakama karma yoga in the gospel. Come on, you all read this gospel story so much. Gospel so many times. What is that story? We are not talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. We are talking about Sakama Karma Yoga. You read the Gospel. Gospel is the commentary on Gita and Upanishads and everything. What was the story? Sakama Karma Yoga. You must have faith in God. Deep faith. Anything is possible for. What is faith? Anything is possible for God. What was the story? There was a farmer. His son was about to die. The physician came. He said, you must go to the crematorium and you must get a drop of water when the nakshatra is in Swati. And then that water must be collected in a skull. It should not rain anywhere. It should rain only in a skull. And then there must be a cobra's poison must fall into that water. Collect that. You see, the particular time. How many impossibles. But this man had faith in God. He went, absolute faith in God. He went to the crematorium, started, Lord, if you wish, you can fulfill. Nothing is impossible for you. Then he found a skull. Lord, already you fulfilled one condition. Please. Just then it was Swati Nakshatra and clouds came. What an impossibility. It could rain anywhere, but it rained there. And a few drops fell in that skull. Lord, you have fulfilled two conditions, only one condition. Just then a frog jumped over the skull. And then a snake was chasing it. And it wanted to bite, but its poison fell in the skull. Meditate on this story. Three impossibilities. And yet, anything impossible can happen. Sri Ramakrishna illustrates it. Two yogis were sitting. Narada was passing by. The yogis asked Narada, what is God doing now? What was the reply? God was passing camels through the eye of a needle. One yogi, he said, you have never been to Vaikuntha. How is it possible for camels to pass through the eye of a needle? You are a hypocrite. You are telling lies. The other yogi, he heard it. What did he say? Anything is possible
for God.
for God. See, so many beautiful stories. You meditate upon them. When you sit your japam, you don't. Your mind is restless. You take up one of these stories, as though Thakur is telling the story in front of you, and then you go on thinking, or ask Thakur, what do you mean by it? Can you explain? It is your own mind which is actually trying to understand it. It's a beautiful way of meditation. Or Leela. This is Leela. Put your mind to work. It is very wonderful. So, everything comes as a result of our karma. That's why these vasanas, they start this whole cycle. You can't stop because they are so subtle. They are not even manifest. But at the level of fruits, we can do something. What is that fruit? First of all, when you are enjoying something, you don't say, this has come to me by my own effort. Say, it has come by the grace of God. So you do whatever you do it right way, pray to God, and then it is whatever result comes, it is your grace that I am enjoying. This is, what is this called? Sakama Karma Yoga. If we practice Sakama Karma Yoga, we become great devotees. Every devotee is not a Nishkama Karma Yogi. It's a mistake. Every devotee, ultimately, yes, he wants moksha. But right now as we are you free from vasanas, kamanas? If you are not free, how can you say that you want moksha? You understand what I am telling you?
Yes.
Even the desire moksha will not. Suppose Sri Ramakrishna says, you see, just I am pulling your legs, Sri Ramakrishna's legs also. You are praying to God. You have read Gospel of Ramakrishna and Thakur is talking about liberation, and you are full of that idea of liberation. You go and pray in the shrine room, and suddenly Sri Ramakrishna appears. Look here, I am pleased with you. So, say tomorrow you will be winning a lottery ticket, but next year you will get moksha. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? But before he could withdraw his offer, he would say, there is no harm in getting both. After all, moksha is coming next year. But this is tomorrow. Where is the conflict? There is no conflict at all. What does it mean? It means that your mind is not, if you don't care for this, if you care only for moksha, then you will never say that.
That's true.
You say, I don't care, I want it right now. This is very difficult for us. Let us become, what is called, let us practice Sakama Karma. What does Sakama Karma mean? These three conditions. First, your desire must be a good desire. Second, you should not try to obtain it by hook or crook. Thirdly, you have to pray to God for His grace. There is another condition. What is another condition? Fourth condition. What is the fourth condition? Enjoy it, remembering it is God's prasadam, and also share it with always. It is possible to share it with others. The moment you do that, you become a good Sakama Karma Yogi. When you that is what Gita says. Arurukshur Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate Yoga Rudhasya Tasyaiva Shamah Karanam Uchyate. When a person is trying to progress in spiritual life, what is that helps him? Sakama Karma. But the same person, when he has enjoyed it, Thakur's words, Bhogant na hole Boiragya Shena. Unless you reach the end of enjoyment, real dispassion will not come. It is a seeming dispassion. Like a person, because he is not getting a job, he goes to Varanasi, and after a few days he gets a job, then he writes back, I got a job, I am sending 10 rupees now, but when I come, I will bring clothes and other things. So let us be good, let us be conscious. I want moksha ultimately, but that desire is not strong in my mind right now. That is called honesty. O Thakur, you make me understand that these are all temporary things. It is all through your grace that I want to get. Be a dharmic person first, moral person, ethical, that is called Shila. That is where right speech, right livelihood and right action, these three come. Wonderful it is. Anyway, so what was your question?
Sorry. I was wondering, where do the desires originate from? The reason I'm thinking that
Yes, I tell you. There is only desire. There are no desires. If we analyze, there are no desires. Every desire is a variation of one thing. It is apurnatva to purnatva, imperfection to perfection. Because perfection is our nature, purna. Purnatva is our real nature. But this samsara makes us think that we are not Purna. We have forgotten that we are Purna. We don't need anything. So this makes us think that we are imperfect and how to make it perfect. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example, the 7 jars of gold of this yaksha. Blank eyes. 7 jars of gold. Remember?
Yeah, and there was one jar.
The barber. No? Ila? Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, there was a barber who used to shave the king. So one day he was going to the king's palace, he had to pass through a forest, then suddenly he heard a voice. Do you want 7 jars of gold? Immediately he said yes. Okay, they are all transferred to your home. So he ran back home, he saw 7 jars of gold over there. Excepting the 7th jar, there was a little bit less. So he said, Purnatva, he wants Purnatva. Until it is full, his mind will not be satisfied. So he went to the king and said, inflation is too much nowadays. I said, please increase my salary a little bit, I am suffering. Though the king doubled it. So this fellow, instead of enjoying, whatever money he was getting, he was becoming stingy, he was not eating, he was not allowing the family to eat. Whatever he was earning, he was trying to put into that jar. But it was a Maya jar. Maya jar means what? Bottomless pit. It is never going to fill up. So this fellow was about to die. The king said, one day he said, by any chance, did you get those 7 jars of gold? He thought somehow the king came to know about it and he might take. But he couldn't say no. He said yes. Then the king explained, you see my man, this is the trick the ghost plays on you, or many people, stupid fellows like you. Because little bit less, you want to make it full. And you go on putting everything you have. Ultimately you die, but it will never be filled. Immediately go and return it. So the fellow came back, he said, I don't want your gold, take it away. Immediately they disappeared. Along with that, all that he put before has also disappeared. Everybody was putting their money in the pension funds, interest funds, share funds. And then these Lehman brothers came along and said, this is all my jars, I am taking it back. And then Lahe Karana Mola Gavayo Ajahuna Gaye Manake Trisanari Vita Gaye Dina Bhajana Binari. Understand? Lahe means interest. In the hope of getting interest, even the principal also has gone. This is our life.
Bengali we call it Niranambay Thakka.
Acha.
You
You remember it very well. Anyway, so the point is desire, there is only one desire. What is the desire? We somehow feel we are not complete. So this is, every other desire is only a variation of a desire. And also there is something peculiar psychology. You know what it is? We can have at any time only one desire. Is it? Either you want to see, or you want to smell, or you can't have all at the same time. But the mind works so fast, it looks as though you are enjoying many things at the same time. No, that's not true. Anyway, so these vasanas are the deep-rooted roots. So what is the picture? These three gunas are, they are what is called making us go round, nourishing us. And these three gunas make our mind, desire so many ways, act in so many ways. And as a result of these actions, we get the results of our actions, which is called flowers and fruits. And the enjoyment of these fruits in the form of sukha and dukkha, they make us, we like this and we don't like this. That creates the vasanas again. So the whole cycle goes on. Where to break? Asanga, it is said. Where to break? At the level of fruits. Because that is the visible things. So how, that is where we have to practice sakama karma yoga. The first step in spiritual life is sakama karma yoga. That involves the whole of dharma. What is dharma? That is why the first Purva Bhaga of Vedas is called Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda means what? Sakama Karma Yoga. The next part is called Gnana Kanda. Gnana Kanda means what? Nishkama Karma Yoga. This is the simple division. Karma Kanda and Gnana Kanda. That is all. Karma Kanda involves prayer, meditation, yajnas, yagas. Yes, all these things. Okay, I'll finish that one. So, its branches, nurtured by the gunas, spread below and above. Its shoots are sense objects, and its rootlings are stretched far below, producing actions in the world of man. So, the roots below, they go on inducing us. Vasana. Vasanas produce samskaras. Samskaras produce kama. Kama produces likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes produces raga and dveshaka. Likes and dislikes. They produce actions. That means we are running towards what we like. We are running away from that which we do not like. All our actions are swinging between I want this and I don't want this. These actions done properly produce right fruits, done improperly produce opposite, unhappy results, and those fruits, enjoyment of those fruits again reinforce our vasanas. This is the most beautiful description of samsara we can get. Just to give you an example, I will stop here, how this cycle really works. See, what is the difference between vasana and samskara? Very often we confuse these two. Vasana means generalized deep desire. For example, a person has a desire to eat. It's called a glutton. He wants to eat. Suppose he is born in a South Indian family. What would be his samskara?
Not to eat fish.
To eat, South Indian food. Because samskara is formed by repeatedly doing some habit. It's called habit. That's why the word habit is a wonderful word. Do you know that? Habit. H-A-B-I-T. Remove H. A bit. Remove A. Bit. Remove B. See how difficult it is. Habit. So I want to eat, but because I have been accustomed to South Indian dishes, If I don't get them, I feel
Unhappy.
unhappy. This is called samskara.
A bit.
But supposing another man who also wants to eat, but he is born in some other country, then you see he is accustomed to his way. His samskara is different. The vasana is same, but the samskara is different. Thakur gives this beautiful example. He was very keen observer of human nature. There was a prince. Being a prince, he says, let us play, let us invent. Every day he invents the same thing. What is that? Let me be bending down, you wash his clothes on my back. Because in his previous birth, that was what he was doing. This is the simple truth. Samskaras, how much they influence us. You go to any place, any party, anywhere. This is the samskara. How it works on a spiritual level, I just given in. You
How do you
see,
break it?
Huh?
How do you break it?
habit can be broken.
Remove a bit. and a
One habit must be broken by an opposite habit,
bit. Okay.
not a bit. You are never going bit by bit. Bit by bit doesn't work.
That won't work.
No, that works like, the man who wanted to give up his 16 wives. It works like that.
So change it to another
You
habit.
didn't understand what I said. Sri Ramakrishna gives it. There were two people in a village. One man was married only one woman, another married 16 wives. So one day, the wife of this man, one husband, he was saying, that man was a great spiritual man. One by one, he is giving up his wives. This man heard it and said, you silly, that he is never going to give up. Because once in a year he gives up one. How many years it is going to take up even then? He is never going. Oh, this Thakur was description, beautiful language. Oh, you see, at least he is better than you. You are not doing anything. You heard it and he had a towel on his tongue. I will show you how to renounce. He said, bye. He did not even look back. He went. That is called real Vairagya, or the two farmers trying to bring water. These are all to be meditated. Merely reading will not do. Read little, but go on thinking for days together. Or read the same thing again. No use saying, I have finished the Gospel of Ramakrishna. That is not helping us. So, what is it? All this samskara produces desires. These desires followed by raga and dvesha. I like this, I want this, I don't want this. These likes and dislikes produce action, real action. This action produces happiness and unhappiness. Happiness and unhappiness again produce samskaras, because we always repeat what is happy and do not like to repeat what is unhappy. This produces samskara. Samskaras deepen the vasanas. This is the cycle, it goes on. So how to change? Only at the grossest level we can change it. What is the grossest level? At the level of enjoying the fruits. That is where you become sakama karma yogi. That itself controls the gunas. What guna? O Lord, without your grace, I cannot. It is impossible to get anything. Everything depends upon your grace. That is called development of sattva guna. Then you offer it to God. You have prasadam. By eating the prasadam, what happens? Your sattva guna increases. As your sattva guna increases, your devotion also increases. Self-control and devotion both increase at the same time. So, if they nourish each other. Sattva guna increases devotion, devotion increases the self-control and sattva guna, and ultimately at some point we will find we are progressing in spiritual. Only after becoming experts or parakasta, sakama karma yogins, then I have enjoyed. Now what next? Then only the inquiry comes. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukrutina arjuna, artho jignasarartharthi, gnani cha bharatarshava. What is that? 4 types of people worship me, Arjuna. The first category is Artha. Artha means one who is in distress. Distress. What is the higher than that category is? A person is not Artha, but he is unfulfilled desires. He wants many things. Artharthi. Artharthi means many things. He wants many things. How many things he wants? One man, one old man, not old man, young man, he prayed to God. He had many desires. He prayed to God. God came and said, you have many desires, but I will give you only one boon. He said, if that is the case, let me eat, in golden plates along with my great grandchildren. How many desires he had put in one bowl. He had put all he would have to live long time, great grandchildren, at least 4 generations, 60 years more. And gold plate means what? Yes, and it good health. So health, wealth, long life, and all grandchildren. Oh my God, everything he got through that. After that God said, I will never say again, I will give you this. He will say, I will only give one thing at a time. So you can't have all 4 things at the same time. You see, there was a cartoon like that. I have to say, what a stupid fellow I am. God was telling after giving this boon. I should learn from this fellow how to ask whether the fellow will choose from me. After that, what is the third one? Artaha, Artharthi. What is the third one? Only when desires are fulfilled, then what is life? I have come so many times. I am tired. I want to see if there is anything higher than this. That is called Jignasa. That is the third. Then spiritual life really starts with Jignasa. And then slowly, spiritual improvement, and then Gnani. So a person becomes Gnani. When a person becomes Gnani, he becomes a real devotee of God. Because at that time, he will not want anything. Until that time, he wants something. And when he reaches that state, he doesn't want anything. Because all his desires are fulfilled. That's why he is called Akamaha, Aptakamaha, Nityakamaha, Purnakamaha. Akamaha, Nityakamaha, Purnakamaha, Atmakamaha. Allah means one. Because he has become everything. When a person has become everything, what is there for him to desire? There is nothing to desire. In fact, we desire only for one reason. What is that? We want to be happy. We want to be happy. So he has attained, he is perfectly happy. Until we are 100% happy. That means we become happiness. Until we become happiness, this desire will haunt us. Uma, a composer, was dead, became a ghost. So he starts composing. What does he compose? Haunting melodies. Who did you know?
You said it last year.
See? Haunting melodies. Okay. Om Vasudeva Sukam Kamsachanam Samarthanam Devaki Paramam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum.